Update. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my boyfriend to my graduation dinner because of what he said to my dad? Original post. So I, 19 female, just graduated college early. Yay me! My family is super close-knit, especially me and my dad. He's a single dad who basically gave up everything to raise me. Like, this man worked 2 jobs when I was in high school, so I could do extracurriculars and not worry about anything. We're tight. Anyway, I've been dating Jake, 22 male, for about 8 months. He's funny, a bit sarcastic, and usually great to be around. We've had ups and downs, but nothing major, until last week. My dad threw me a small graduation dinner, just close family and a couple of my best friends. Jake was going to be invited, but the day before the dinner, he came over to help me pick an outfit and ended up chatting with my dad. I wasn't in the room the whole time, but I heard them laughing at first, then voices got lower. Later, when Jake left, my dad pulled me aside and said, "I don't like how he talks to me." I asked what happened, and apparently, Jake had said something like, "You must be glad your job as a dad is finally over," in a joking way. My dad apparently just smiled and changed the subject, but I could tell it really hurt him. He's sensitive about that kind of stuff, and honestly, so am I. When I texted Jake about it, he doubled down and said my dad was being too emotional and that it's not that deep. That rubbed me the wrong way. My dad has never asked for anything, and this dinner was a big deal for him. So I made the choice to not invite Jake. I didn't tell him until the day of, and he blew up saying I was choosing my dad over him and that I'm immature for ghosting him for a stupid dinner. I told him he needed to apologize to my dad first before being welcome around my family again. He said I'm being dramatic and that my dad needs to grow up. So now he's barely speaking to me, and some of my friends have different takes. A couple say I did the right thing, others think I should have still let him come and talked it out after. Now for the top comments before reading the update. You're a college graduate now. You've outgrown an immature boy like Jake. He was fun for a time, but you can do better. Also, here's a handy hint. The moment a man says, "It's not that deep," is the moment you know he's a bad guy. That's how they reveal themselves. That and too emotional. Though they usually apply the too emotional label to the woman, not her father. Jake is extra special for that detail. Not the a-hole. I also think you can do better than him. He's showing some big red flags. Ups and downs after only 8 months? You should still be in the honeymoon phase with way more ups than downs. Everything he said to your dad is troublesome. Your dad will always be your dad, and his job as a parent is never over. Of course you're going to choose your dad over him. The fact that he won't apologize or even acknowledge his obnoxious comments is a real problem. I think you're starting to see that Jake is manipulative, jealous, and controlling. His comments are rubbing you the wrong way, so trust your gut. You know what he said was inappropriate, and his reaction to you calling him out on his behavior is a problem as well. He didn't deserve to be at the dinner, and he doesn't deserve to have you as a girlfriend. It doesn't matter what your friends say, they don't have to deal with him the way you do. Move on from Jake, celebrate with your dad, and enjoy the dinner. Not the a-hole. Jake's not an a-hole for his initial comment. It might have been a bit inconsiderate, but I think he probably meant well. It was basically a ham-handed congratulations. But his reaction to the criticism was far more damning. He showed a complete inability to self-reflect and see something from a different point of view. And, of course, you're going to choose your dad over a boyfriend of 8 months. Now for the update. Hey Reddit, I didn't think this would get much attention, but thanks for all the responses. I read a lot of them, even the brutally honest ones lol. A bunch of people asked for an update, so here we go. So after the whole graduation dinner situation, I gave Jake some space. I thought maybe he just needed time to cool off and think things through. I was still upset, but I genuinely hoped he'd come around, maybe even reach out to apologize to my dad. He didn't. Instead, the day after the dinner, he posted some cryptic IG story like black screen, white text, classic drama saying something like, "Some people value performative loyalty over real love. Okay, philosopher." I ignored it, but then my cousin, who was at the dinner and follows Jake, messaged me asking if everything was okay. Because apparently, Jake was replying to comments under that story with eye-roll emojis whenever someone mentioned family or dads. At that point, I was like, what are we doing here? So I texted him one more time. I said, "Hey, I need to know where you stand. If you still think what you said wasn't a big deal and you don't want to apologize, then maybe this just isn't going to work." He read it, didn't reply, left me on read for 3 days. Then, out of nowhere, he sent me this long paragraph saying I clearly have unresolved daddy issues, and that he should have known I'd always prioritize the first man in my life over any future ones. Y'all, my jaw was on the floor. Not only was that wildly disrespectful, it proved exactly why I made the right choice. I told him we were done, blocked his number, told my friends what he said, and even the ones who thought I was being too harsh before were like, "Yeah, no, he sucks." And my dad? He didn't even know half of this was happening. But when I told him, in a very PG way, he just said, "You deserve someone who respects all of you, including where you come from." Anyway, single now, degree in hand, peace restored. And my dad and I went out for pancakes the next morning and laughed about how I almost invited a man who beefs with father figures to a family dinner. Thanks for the advice, Reddit. Some of y'all saved me from wasting more time. Good riddance. Baffling how people can think this is okay. I'm a bit of a sarcastic person, never meaning to hurt anyone's feelings, but I realize not everyone thinks like I do. So if I were to ever say anything that hurt someone, I'd apologize for what I said, that it wasn't my intention to hurt them, and then store that information in my head to ensure it doesn't happen again. It's called being respectful of others. Good for her to not put up with his immature BS. Lol, this man somehow thinks having a healthy relationship with your father equals unresolved daddy issues? Good riddance indeed. He's asking like at 19 you suddenly don't need your parents anymore, which is just stupid. I'm twice your age and I still need my parents sometimes. I'm 61 and still miss my mom and dad. There isn't a day goes by that I don't think of them. I'm 60 and miss my mom and dad too. Anyone who told me I didn't need them anymore would be shown the door so fast it would have time to hit them on the backside on the way out. Daddy issues means you insisted on being treated like a person with agency, and I don't like that every single time. Yeah, I went back and read the guy's original comment, and while from a normal, respectful person, it could have been construed as an awkwardly delivered sentiment, like, "You must be glad you get to take a break from parenting now that OP is grown up." It absolutely did not feel like that coming from the ex-boyfriend. Came across as more of a, "You may be her dad, but she belongs to me now" kind of comment. Dude even flips his lid when she displays a backbone. Immature and gross. This one belongs in the bin. Next story. Am I the a-hole for walking out of my sister's engagement dinner and refusing to attend her wedding after she humiliated me at the dinner in front of my boyfriend, our family, and her future in-laws? My sister, 30 female, had her engagement dinner at our parents' house a month ago. I, 26, was there with my boyfriend, also 26. It was our side of the family, our parents, both sets of grandparents, and 5 aunts and uncles, and her future in-laws, fiancé's parents and siblings, his 3 living grandparents, and like 10 aunts and uncles. My sister's fiancé made some comments about wanting to get to know me and my boyfriend better, and saying we should meet up before the wedding and hang out. My boyfriend and I were on board with this, but my sister was seriously quiet, and then she said we would be doing nothing like that. She said I had already stolen one guy from her and I wasn't going to do it again. This was followed up by her blaming me for her ex-fiancé breaking up with her because he liked me. Context on that. This was when my sister was 20 and her ex was 21 and I was 16. I never did a thing with him and never would have. My sister was distant with me after that relationship breakdown, and she confronted me about it at the time, and I told her nothing happened. I sorta knew she didn't believe me, but always thought she'd get over it. Apparently not. My parents blew a fuse at dinner when she brought this up. They were disgusted she'd accused me at 16 of stealing a 21-year-old man. They told her he was at fault for all of that. She told them I was so smug and figured I could get away with it, but I'm nothing but a whore. My boyfriend jumped to my defense, but I told him I just wanted to leave. I felt humiliated, honestly, especially when I had already denied anything happening, and it was 10 years later and she's with someone else. I was told a week ago that they have a date for the wedding set and I'll be invited. I told a relative who told me that I won't be going. Then I had some blowback from the family who told me walking out of the dinner was bad enough, but not going to the wedding is several steps too far, and that we're still sisters no matter what. Am I the a-hole? Edit to add, clarifying that my parents are not expecting me to go, or part of the relatives telling me I should still go. My parents have been very supportive and are on my side, and reminded everyone I was 16 when my sister claims I did this, that this was a gross thing. It's extended relatives who are expecting me to go because we're sisters. Not the a-hole. I wouldn't go to the wedding unless she apologizes in front of the same people she made the scene in front of. With behavior like that, in front of the fiancé, I wouldn't count on there being a wedding. Can you imagine the fiancé's reaction if she treats family that way? Definitely raises red flags about their relationship. Imagine what her in-laws must think after witnessing that behavior. They might have some reservations too. She called her 16-year-old little sister a whore. Why would anyone think she would go to her wedding now? Because it's just what you do according to the relatives who expect me to go. Who are these relatives? And are they hounding your sister to make a public apology for suggesting her pedophile ex was not a predator and you were not an unwitting victim? Or the public apology for suggesting you would go after her fiancé? Also, where's her public apology to her fiancé for implying he is not capable of being true to her? Tell your family that people tend to project their own insecurities and sins onto others, so you're taking a page from your sister's book and keeping your boyfriend away from her, as she clearly has shown she has no qualms about publicly ruining relationships. A couple of cousins and 2 aunts are behind this mostly. I'm not sure if they've spoken to my sister about this at all. Probably not. I don't think I'll live long enough to see her ever apologize. Maybe if we were vampires who had centuries, although she'd probably be more hateful toward me with that kind of time. Just out of curiosity, what do your parents say? Regardless, you are not wrong for not attending. The toxic relatives who say you should go are the ones who are wrong. My parents and I haven't talked about the wedding, but they're furious with her. I'm not sure their anger has weakened at all. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving up my seat at my own baby shower? I, 28 female, am pregnant with my first child. My best friend, 28 female, threw me a beautiful baby shower this weekend, and everything was going great. Until my sister-in-law, 26 female, showed up late and decided she was the center of attention. Sister-in-law is married to my husband's younger brother and is currently trying to conceive. I'm sympathetic, and we've had open conversations about her struggles. But this was my day. Anyway, I was sitting in the designated mom-to-be chair that had been decorated for me when sister-in-law came over and said, "Can I sit here? My back is killing me." I said, "I'm really sorry, but this chair was kind of set up for me." She rolled her eyes and mumbled something like, "Some people just love playing the victim." My husband overheard, told her to knock it off, and she left in a huff. Now my mother-in-law is texting me saying I embarrassed her daughter-in-law in front of the whole family and made her feel less of a woman for not being pregnant yet. Am I the a-hole for not giving up the chair? Now for the comments. Dear Lord, is sister-in-law always such a drama mama? And mother-in-law jumping in to defend her, screams, "Guess who the golden child is? Not the a-hole." Exactly. OP's baby shower was supposed to be about her, not a spotlight grab for sister-in-law. The chair wasn't just a seat, it was part of the celebration. Mother-in-law jumping in just proves who's always been coddled. I almost wish she had given up the chair. Can you imagine the response from the other guests to her booting a pregnant woman from her soon-to-be mom's seat? The embarrassment would have been much higher if her friends got to put their 2 cents in. My husband overheard, told her to knock it off, and she left in a huff. Now my mother-in-law is texting me saying I embarrassed her daughter-in-law in front of the whole family and made her feel less of a woman for not being pregnant yet. Ah, so this wasn't because her back hurt, it's because she wanted to feel like a mother, and is now, shockingly, playing the victim, not the a-hole. Her back probably hurts from carrying all that drama weight around. I hear they have surgeries for reducing drama that significantly help with back pain. I had that procedure. It's called divorce. Worked wonders for me. Highly recommend. Last story. Am I the a-hole for faking a family emergency to get out of babysitting my sister's miracle baby because I had concert tickets? So, I'm 18, and my sister, 33 female, had a baby last year after 8 years of trying. 2 rounds of IVF and what I can only describe as weaponized fertility drama. The whole family calls the kid Baby Jesus, not joking, because he was sent from above. I was supportive at first, but it's gotten insufferable. My sister acts like no one else has ever had a child. We're expected to treat him like royalty. We literally have to sanitize, which I partially get, and announce ourselves before holding him. She asked me to babysit again last weekend because she and her husband needed alone time. But I had tickets to see a Leonard Cohen tribute concert next city over. I told her I had plans and she freaked out, said I was abandoning the family. So I panicked and said there was a family emergency, specifically that my boyfriend's grandma had died suddenly and I had to be with him. Yes, I lied. Then, get this, I posted one photo from the concert on my private story, not realizing my sister still stalks my alt account. She saw it, freaked out, and now the whole family is calling me selfish and heartless. My mom said, and I quote, "You'd rather go see drugged-up rock stars than help keep your miracle nephew alive." I told them if he's truly a miracle baby, God can babysit next time. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but don't make up stuff anymore. Stand up for yourself and be prepared for the fallout. Give the family their space for now. No calls, etc. until they all calm down. Believe me, I know. They're just really hard to deal with sometimes. Not to blame it on my ethnicity, but they're one of those Hispanic families. Not the a-hole. I'm a mom, and when I ask family to babysit, I worked around their plans. She can switch her alone time, and if she can't be responsible for her baby, she shouldn't have had a kid. Or she could hire a babysitter. I don't understand people who are desperate to have a child, finally have one, and then try to pawn said child off onto anyone they can because they no longer get me time. That's the whole point of a young child. You're never alone.